Hi, today we'll be learning 4 easy steps to track your text using Adobe After Effects. And in the end, I'll teach you how to rotoscope as well. Now, let's get started. We'll start from easy footage and move our way to the more complex one. This is a pretty easy footage. Now, let's track motion and add our track point to a good location that is visible in the scene. This looks like a good point. Let's see if we can track it. So looks like our tracker has lost track. Not to worry, we'll choose another point to track. This point looks good. It's visible throughout the scene. Let's track forward. We have a black frame at the end. Let's remove that. Now, let's track backwards. Looks like we have a pretty good track. Now, to pin this track, we need to create a new null object. Export our tracking data to the null object we just created and hit apply. Apply X and Y. As we can see, the null object is perfectly tracked to the point. Now let's make our text. Let's call this Dream House. And let's pin this text to where we want. Give it a little drop shadow so that we can easily see it. Change the anchor point to the middle. Now the final part. Parent the text to the null object. And there we have it. Our text is tracked to the point which we tracked in our scene. Looks pretty good. Now we are going to move on to a little more complex tracking using track motion as well. I'll report a new scene. What we're going to do is put Home Sweet Home somewhere on the house. Right here is good. Here we'll place Home Sweet Home text. For this, we're going to use track motion again, but this time we'll select position, rotation, and scale. First, let's try with position and rotation and see if we can track the footage. Track seem to be good. Now let's select scale and track forward. Once our tracking is complete, create a new null object to export our tracking data to and make the null object 3D. Our tracking data has been exported to the null object. Now let's make our text. Pretty simple text, Home Sweet Home. Now let's give it a little drop shadow so we can easily see it. change the scale, position and rotation. As this is a 3D scene, we need to convert our text to 3D layer so we can place it seamlessly in our scene. Looks about good. Now for the final part, parent the text to the null object. Scrub through our footage. Pretty good, our text is tracked to the scene. Now we are going to move on to the next step of tracking using 3D tracker. For this we will use a new footage and make a new composition. Take out the black screen at the start. Again, go to the tracker, but this time we will choose track camera, which will open up 3D camera tracker. In the 3D camera tracker, open up advanced settings and choose detailed analysis. Let After Effects do the tracking in the background. Once the tracking is complete, you are going to see a lot of track points in the scene. Now these track points come and go at different points. Not to worry, you're not going to use one track point, you're going to use a bunch of them. Let's create our text. And we are going to place this text on the wall. Now to place it on the wall, exactly where we want it, and to blend it with the scene, we will adjust its position a little bit in 3D space, that is. This looks good. Also, to blend it more, change the opacity, dial down the opacity a little bit, and there we go. Our text is perfectly tracked to the wall using 3D motion tracker. Now for the final part of the video, we are going to use rotoscoping and 3D tracking as well in a scene. Let's see how that works. First, let's import our scene to a new composition. You can see a lot of buildings here, there in the background. First thing we're going to do is use 3D camera tracker. Now, for that, hit track camera, and once again, open up the advanced setting and check detailed analysis. once our tracking is complete, you're going to see a lot of track points on the scene. We're going to choose a bunch of them once again. This bunch looks good as we will be placing our text behind these buildings. Use the lasso tool and select these points. Create new text. Adjust the text size. And as this is a sunset scene, let's change our text to something appropriate, like a sunset. Perfect. Adjust the size and let's place it where we want. Scrub through our footage. You can see the text is perfectly tracked in our scene, including the zoom in motion of the camera. Now the fun part. We'll be using Roto Brush 3.0 for this. For this, make a new duplicate a layer, original footage layer. Delete the 3D camera from that layer. Now there are two ways to do it. You can choose the mask tool and just mask around each building one by one, or we can use the Roto Brush tool. I'm going to choose the Roto Brush tool as it is much easier and we don't have to make a lot of adjustments afterwards. You don't have to be very perfect, as Roto Brush 3.0 does a pretty good job of detecting the scene and selecting the appropriate areas. Make adjustments to Roto Brush, and to delete any parts of the rotoscope, hold down Alt on your keyboard and then click and drag to deselect the part. Our selection looks good. Now let's scrub forward and see how the Roto Brush keeps on. We need a few adjustments here and there, but overall it's pretty good. Once your rotoscope is good enough, you can freeze frame to lock in the Roto Brush so that it does not render again and again. This looks good. Now let's freeze frame. You can either freeze frame the entire footage or you can stop it at any point you feel appropriate. We're going to stop this Roto Brush tracking at about 5-second mark, which will be enough for our footage. Now let's go into our main composition and see the results. We have perfectly rotoscoped using Roto 3.0 the buildings, and now to put some icing on the top, we're going to place some effects on the sunset text that we just created. Let's go with a deep glow and let's color it to, well, a sunset. Place the fill on top of the deep glow, and we have a nice sunset. Now if you like the tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.